Hey everybody, this is Love and Relo, the voice of the relocation industry. I am your host, Ben Cross. So excited today. I got my friend Bill Mulholland from ARC Relocation coming on. He just dropped a brand new client survey regarding COVID-19, the future of the initiations that they're seeing. He's going to give us some hot breaking news here. So, looking forward to talking to him. I am broadcasting from my home office. Real quick, we have a sponsor I want to shout out. So let's see here. There we go. Pivot. Yeah, Pivot app. Today's episode of Love and Relo is sponsored by Pivot. Did you know that up to 1/3 of assignees leave their post early? At Pivot, we want to change that. Pivot is the social mobility app designed to make a new city feel like home. How do we do that? We provide crowdsourced data from friends, coworkers, and other expats to give the best possible advice for assignees abroad. We can improve assignment success rates and help employees thrive, all for only $6. Contact Lynn Greenberg, founder of Pivot, at lynn@pivotapp.com. That's LYNN at PIVTAPP.com. Awesome. Thank you for Pivot. Appreciate y'all. And I'm going to bring on the show here Bill Mulholland from ARC. Hey, Bill, how's it going?
What's up, brother? How you doing, man? Sorry, I was just posting real quick to LinkedIn and Facebook trying to get people to join us.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, lately LinkedIn's been kind of squirrely. So, if you're watching us on LinkedIn right now, appreciate you. Go ahead and leave a like, hit a comment. I want to know who's watching. I want to know where you are. Give your company a little shout out. Also, if you have any questions for Bill or myself, or just an update from your neck of the woods, let us know, and we'll get that started. We'll give people just a minute to kind of trickle in here as well. So, Bill, where in the world are you right now?
I am in Puerto Rico, at our Puerto Rico office. Actually, I think I'm the only person in our building right now. But yeah, it's pretty locked down here, and I'm getting updates from our Virginia office every day. In fact, the Virginia governor just issued a mandatory stay-at-home order for the entire state until June 10th.
Oh, wow. June 10th.
Yeah, June 10th. They said they can amend it and make it earlier if they need to, but I mean, that's a huge deal. I mean, Amazon has their new headquarters in Virginia. Boeing has a big office there. I mean, Virginia is a major economic power. So that's a big deal. And I would say Puerto Rico is even more strict. There's stay at home in place in Puerto Rico. We have curfews. You can only drive your car a certain day. Like if your license plate starts with an odd number, you can drive your car on odd number days. If your license plate starts with an even number, you can only drive it on even number days. So, I mean, Puerto Rico is kind of out in front of everyone, which I'm happy about. We only have 11 cases or 100 cases rather on the island right now, but yeah, very, very strict. So it's our new normal.
Yeah, it's interesting with the license plate thing, though. I think that's smart, because last week I found myself going to the grocery store. It seemed like every day we forgot, whatever, creamer or coffee or Lunchables or something. I was at the grocery store, so I appreciate that.
Another way to cut down. I had heard that they had done that back, I think during the Great Depression when they were trying to cut down on gasoline consumption. So I think they just kind of adapted the policy that they used to have from back then. So pretty interesting. I mean, I don't mind it. Anything that we can do to help get rid of this thing, let's do it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the more we do now, the sooner hopefully this will be done, right?
Yep.
I think we're all looking forward to that. We got a great crowd right now on LinkedIn. Appreciate everybody. Keep the comments coming. Keep the likes coming. Loving all that stuff I'm seeing there, and I want to give everybody a shout out. Hopefully, I didn't. Oh man, I might have missed a bunch of people. Go ahead and drop one in the comments. Got a bunch of people on YouTube as well as Facebook. Go ahead and drop some comments here. Steve Whitcamp, watching from Los Angeles. Steve is the president of the California Moving and Storage Association. Hey, Steve, appreciate you always giving us updates here. A couple quick shout outs here. And if I missed you, leave it again because my comments reset here. This thing is so beta right now on LinkedIn. Allison McDaniel, Allison's Relocation says hello from Alaska. They're the best at social distancing, by the way, in Alaska. They are. Andreas Macris, keep up the great work, guys. Appreciate you, Andreas. Let's see here. The comments are just streaming in. Sandra Clary in the DC metro area. Hire me. Recent COVID-19 reduction of force. You know, we're hearing about furloughs, reductions in force. That's so. I mean, that's so sad. I got a neighbor next door works at Chrysler. Same thing happened. Buddy, who's a vice president at a freight company, just got let go as well. So if you're looking for somebody, Sandra's available. John Krish, chief engineer at Nowship. Hi from Nowship. We have some news about a new product launch. Congrats. Stephen Meyer, a driver, nomad driver, Alexandria, Virginia.
Nice.
Checking in on
Alexandria.
Yeah, stay safe, Stephen. Let's see here. BHHS, Home Sale Real Estate, Pennsylvania, Maryland. Alicia Motter checking in. Brian Rothschild at home in Kansas City. Samantha Elliott. Hey, Sam, how you doing? Housing. Yep.
PCH.
Yep. Let's see. Michael Cadden. Hi from Living Abroad, LLC in Connecticut. Brian Rivers, First Tech Federal Credit Union. Hey, Brian. Shout out to Brian. Brian was on our first Love and Relo happy hour on Friday on the West Coast.
Nice.
Appreciate you, Brian, and corporate folks. 1972 gas crisis is one guy says is probably where that license plate thing was first used.
I think that was it. It's exactly what it was.
Hopefully it doesn't come to gas shortages, right? Kathleen Baker, hi from Dallas. Katie Linehan, hi from Connecticut. All right, we got some folks from the Middle East here. Zafar, what's up? Cool. Danny Erkowitz, watching from New Jersey. Dano, our boy Dano.
Dano, sharpest dressed man in Relo.
Yeah, I'm coming for you, Dano. Kudos to both you guys, Bill and Ben in Atlanta. Oh, goodness. It's so fun to see people check in. I mean, I'm over here holed up in my house, and sometimes it's the closest thing I get to, seeing people.
Is that where you're at? You're at home right now?
Yeah, I'm on day 3 of home officing.
Yeah, I just had to get out, man, and get into the office just to change it up a little bit.
It's tough, right? I mean, you got you got some girls, running around.
Oh, yeah, 8 and 11. So yeah, with the dog and the kids and everyone's just kind of on top of each other. You need to get outside, stretch your legs. I'm lucky enough that my office is like a mile away, so I can just shoot over here. I'm the only person in here, so I'm staying safe, but just change the environment. And that's easier on them too. They don't have to be tiptoeing around all my phone calls. Which is
right. I have to go outside and be like, hey, I'm getting on a video, chill out. Right. And they're like, they're 1 year old. What do you
yeah.
Right? Yeah. Jason Miller, Jose Bali, Joshua Flat. Andy Lopez, how's it going? All right. So checked in with a bunch of people here. Bill, you just released a study today, I think.
Yeah.
Not today.
Released the results today.
Yeah. So this study dropped today. So this is hot off the presses, news. Tell us a little bit about the study that came out today.
Yeah. And so although it's surprising, it's what we're seeing firsthand. And we reached out to non-ARC clients too, just to see if we were some sort of anomaly. But if you look at the study, and I posted it to LinkedIn, if we're not LinkedIn, connect with me. I think it's public. You can download it. But we got a pretty good spread. I'm looking at it on my other screen over here of participants. We had the clients indicate what industry they were from. So we got people from energy and automotive, oil and gas, aerospace, tech, retail, food and beverage. So we got a pretty good, what I think is a sample size. And we basically just wanted to poll clients and see what's going on of, do you have restrictions in place? Do you have in place who are reluctant to relocate? Are you expecting more restrictions? And just to kind of back up, what we've been seeing at ARC, which is a little bit confusing, is that not only have our new initiations stayed consistent, we're slightly up. Not enough to write home about, but we're still busier. This week, we measure week over week. Last week was our busiest week in the last 4 weeks. So we're busier. We were talking to transferees. Our home closings are still happening every day. They're getting closed. We've had a few hiccups. We had a buyer come from Canada for one of our inventory homes that obviously can't come here. And, we have people relocating to Italy and other countries. So, I mean, don't get me wrong. We've definitely had relocations that have been disrupted. But in large part, we seem to so far have business as usual. And so that's what this survey revealed as well. So the first question on it, if you look at it, is has your company put in place any restrictions? And the majority of companies have. Some companies have put some restrictions in place because of COVID-19, but many have not at all. And then if you look at the next question, have any relocations been on hold? The overwhelming majority said no. Relocations have not. I just hung up with the call, a GSA call. All the GSA movers were on it, and all the GSA relocation companies were on it. It's just a little over 100 people on this phone call. And for the most part, the only agency that has really stopped relocations is the Department of Defense. Other than that, you know, speaking with our clients, we have a good number of government clients, Social Security and Customs and Border Protection and USGS and others. They have not put a stop to their program. We're addressing issues on a case-by-case basis, but no policy changes.
So when you say a stop, you mean a total stop, like the DOD did with the stop movement order?
Right. We have not seen that. Right.
Are they answering that they are seeing a reduction though? Are the majority seeing a reduction of some sort or no? I mean, it sounds like your volumes are
we haven't seen it. Yeah. I mean, I'm getting ready to post a social media video, just kind of tracking business on a micro level so that you can make sure that there's no surprises on your macro goals. And so you've been in our office, Ben. I mean, we have this huge 100-inch plasma board in Virginia, and we have one down here in Puerto Rico as well, and it tracks all of our closings. Well, last March, we had 42 home closings. You'll see on this video. And this March, we had 82. So we're busier. Now, those people probably ratified on their home probably sometime in January and February before all this started going down. But those closings aren't being delayed from what we're seeing. Those closings are happening. So
I just want to make sure I caught that correctly. You're saying last March of 2019, you had 40 something, and March of 2020, you have 80 something home closings?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
This first quarter of 2020 has been our busiest quarter ever. 2019 was a little bit less busy than 2018. But 2020 is so far our busiest quarter yet. And since this whole thing has gone down, like I get laser focused when I get scared or something's going to happen. So, you know, I have weekly calls anyways where we look at our bank accounts. So I have that with my accounts receivable, accounts payable department. I have a weekly call with our operations team, and we see how many initiations we got, and then we break it down by client. Everything's up. Initiations are up, closings are up. And, you know, we're laser focused. We have corporate clients too. We got Hostess, we got GNC, we got DHL. They're still coming in every day.
Yeah.
So I'm waiting for the shoe to drop, and the survey revealed that too. Most clients are expecting a change in the future, but there might be a lot of people on this call right now that are seeing the same thing we're seeing, that you're holding your breath, you're waiting, but there hasn't been a huge change yet. So that's kind of where we're at.
Yeah, for me, I mean, I saw 2 weeks ago was the best week in March I think I'd ever had. Last week was kind of slow. It kind of scared me a little bit when I saw the results coming up. I got a quarter of the initiations last week that I got 2 weeks ago. And I will say thank you very much to ARC, because that was, you know, one of the initiations I got was from you guys. Thank you, Jesus.
I was about to say, I got to step it up, ARC team.
Appreciate you. Please. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
This man needs some moves.
But yeah, so and then we'll kind of see. I mean, because a week's not a trend, so we'll see what happens next week to kind of get a curve. Is it kind of keep going like that, or does it kind of just do one of these in-month curves? You know.
And that's what I think we're all expecting, right? I mean, I'm still shocked that we're at this point and we haven't seen more of a stop, but ARC and all the suppliers, I think, for the most part, are bracing ourselves to see, you know, things slow down. And so too are the clients. I mean, overwhelmingly, every one of our clients that we surveyed does expect there to be more restrictions put in place in the future. We just haven't seen it yet. So we're all sitting here just kind of holding our breath, waiting for it to happen.
Now the growth that you're seeing, like let's say March over March, right? The growth that you're seeing, because this thing really kind of materialized this month. This went from a you know, I said this before, this went from a punchline to a punch in the gut in about a week, right? Yeah. This went from a joke to a holy crap, right? So do you attribute some of that growth that you're seeing to market changes, or do you, because I think a lot of people would say that runs counter to what they're seeing with home sales generally in the market, or do you attribute that to the growth in your company from sales and marketing efforts and from addition of new clients, things like that?
It's growth of the company. I mean, every once in a while, we get lucky and an existing client will do a group move, or there'll be some sort of significant increase in our client's volume. And we did have some of that. We have had some of that last year. We've had 2 clients, in fact, that are doing big group moves. So those are awesome. But for the most part, our clients have stayed pretty consistent. It's just that we're getting more clients and we're growing. We're lucky. We're a small to medium-sized relocation company. So there's a lot of room for growth. So even if our clients don't grow, we can continue to grow the company every year.
Yeah. So your clients are saying, as of right now, they're not seeing the dip. And again, this is a very fluid situation because 3 weeks ago, again, we were joking about this, and now we're like not joking about this. So it's a very fluid situation, and they are saying they're forecasting into the future some restrictions coming into place, and a dip. Have they given you any indication of how far out that dip might be, and for what kind of a time period, or how deep of a dip it might be?
No, that's a great question. We're going to do this survey at 30, 60, and 90 days out. So the type of charts that we used in this first survey, you're going to be able to see on the second one where we plug in another bar graph to kind of compare it, and we have the timeline. So we can see how this thing progresses. We've taken a lot of calls with our clients to let them know that, hey, we're taking a proactive approach. You probably have seen the correspondence that we have to service providers. We also have correspondence to clients and transferees. If anybody interacts with anyone at our company, in the auto signature of every employee, it says, hey, click here to see our letter to the transferees and the clients, and click here to see our letter to the service providers. So we're taking a proactive approach so that they know that we're on it. And most of them are telling us, hey, we're willing to work with you. Even the government clients who are held to a much more strict standard, right? Because a lot of these things are the law. I just hung up with a call with GSA earlier that I mentioned, and they've been doing a call every week. GSA has been awesome. And they are proactively looking at how they can be nimble and reactive, which is tough sometimes for the government to do because it is a law, to accommodate for this. So everyone has said, hey, changes are coming. We know that, and we'll try and work with you, which is music to my ears because the alternative changes are coming, and sorry, bud, there's nothing we can do.
I like the fact that you're going to revisit this survey and keep this survey going out periodically, because I think it'd be very interesting to see how it's almost like a consumer sentiment report. It's almost like a relocation manager sentiment report, right? Because again, going back to what I just said about this virus and our own perceptions of this virus 3 weeks ago or a month ago were totally different than they are this month, and I think it's interesting to take the temperature every, no pun intended, but every 2 weeks, every month, whatever it is, and see how people feel about their business and what they're seeing. And then being able to kind of like in a longitudinal style study show that over time. I think that'll be interesting. And I think it'll be interesting to continue doing it for 90, 120, because as we kind of come out of
back up.
Yeah, because a lot of people I'm talking to are talking about there's going to be a big pop. When this thing is over, there's going to be pent up demand that's going to pop and hit the market. And if it hits in May or June, it's going to be insane. If it hits in September and October, it might be kind of nice.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see. Go ahead.
I was going to say our hope, and I think the hope that a lot of people in the industry have, is that this thing is going to clobber us during the spring, but we're going to try and get everything back to normal so we can have this crazy summer. And by the end of the year, hopefully we're going to be even. And that's still kind of the hope that I'm clinging to. If you look at China, it took them about 2 months to dig their way out of it. I don't know if the US is going to be worse. A lot of people say it is, just because it's such a more transient country than China is. So that remains to be seen. But my hope now is by June, we're getting back to normal.
Well, and I am excited about some of the stimulus stuff that I'm seeing coming out. I mean, it seems like they've addressed everybody from the worker, the employee, to the independent contractor, the self-employed, the small business owner, the large business. I mean, it looks like they've really taken a look, and I think it's a $2 trillion stimulus package.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think they're not messing around. It's not like the recession of 2008 when they waited for people to fail and they picked winners afterwards, right? They're getting ahead of it. So I got to say, I think that's interesting. I think that can give people some peace of mind as they bridge the gap and the work slowdown. Now, if people want to participate in this study, who are you surveying and how can they get involved in this study so we get more data points?
So I posted it on my LinkedIn profile. So if you view me on LinkedIn, you should be able to find it. I'm going to post the updated one again. And based on our conversation today and based on what happens over the next 30 days, maybe we'll add some more questions. I wanted to keep it short just to kind of have a look at what's happening and a look towards the future. That was the whole goal of the survey. So just make it 8 questions so people filled it out quickly. I had a short window. I only had 4 days. We got about 100 respondents in 4 days, which was awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was overwhelming. If we can get even more, better.
And who are responding? Who are you looking to respond to these?
HR professionals that are tasked with relocation. Any client, generally that's going to be in the HR role that relocation falls under their umbrella. Their input is key. And then we're using this as a benchmark so they can see what's going on with their counterparts. Because many of our clients, when we spoke with them, said, hey, I don't know if we're the only ones, but right now it's business as usual. And until we tell you to, proceed forward with the move. If the transferee wants to get their stuff picked up, if the transferee wants to buy a house, go for it. And so this is a way of letting them know, no, you're not the only one. In fact, most of our clients are taking that exact same position right now.
Right. I think you touched on something there where people are like, am I crazy or is this what everybody? I think there, in times like this, there's that. I had several of these phone calls today where it's just like, am I crazy or, you know, is this happening? You know? And I think there's a lot of us just kind of coming together. And of course we have to do it virtually, like doing this and other you know, calls and Skypes and whatever. But it's a lot of like, you know, hey, am I alone in this? And whereas before we probably just knock on your door and say, Bill, you seeing this too? So I think there's a real need for people to come together and compare notes right now.
And validate for sure. And same thing with the RMCs. I'm like, oh, maybe we're just different because we have government business. But then like one of our clients is Total Wine and More. You know, you see like a Total Wine survey coming, like, wait a minute, like this isn't an FBI agent where you could say this is mission critical. This guy has to get there.
Right.
But yeah, companies, corporate clients are taking the same position where we don't want to just stop doing business. We want to continue in any way that we can to proceed forward. And even like we're doing one group move now from Canada to Puerto Rico. And so obviously they've stopped that travel, but we're still proceeding forward in the sense of, yeah, we can't physically move anyone, but we're starting language training at origin. You know, that phone call was basically, okay, guys, you know, we're all getting creative. We're all working virtually. What can we do? And the silver lining in that is the person who's providing language training at origin over Skype is going to be the same person that they're going to meet when they hit the ground here in Puerto Rico for their ongoing language training. So it was kind of almost a bonus. So yeah, everyone's getting creative and no one really wants to stop doing business if they don't have to. So that's the good news. Well,
yeah. I mean, I think you're right about that. People don't want to stop doing business if they don't have to, because I think the prospect of, once you stop, I mean, you know, it gets scary because when you start back and then the process of having overhead with no revenue for several months could be bad. Are there certain and I'm sorry, I'm trying to get my LinkedIn to work. It's kind of being squirrely right now. But are there certain industries or types of companies or trends you're seeing who have been more adversely affected than others? You know, is there a trend like in government or in logistics or in hospitality? I mean, I got to be thinking any hospitality or retailers, you know, have got to be hit hard.
I have a few friends in the hotel industry that have already been furloughed, and the neighborhood I live down here in Puerto Rico has a hotel in the neighborhood, and that was shut down until June 1st. And I heard a statistic that about 20,000 hotel employees in Puerto Rico had been either laid off or furloughed already. So I certainly think that is going to be one hard hit industry. If you look at the survey, on page number 9, one of the questions that we asked is what service clients anticipated being most particularly impacted? And the number 1 was travel, like house hunting, final travel. So it seems like they're seeing that already right now and predicting that's going to be an issue, booking airline tickets, booking hotels. And I think that's what we've all seen. Number 2, shipment of household goods. And I'll tell you what we're seeing with that, Ben, and you know way better than I do. We're fortunate. We haven't seen anything too major, but what we are seeing is we're needing exceptions for extended storage for whatever reason. Maybe it can't get to where it's going because it's coming from foreign. We're seeing increased fees because there's a little bit less options. So we're finding service providers are asking us for approvals for surcharges. And we're worried too. We don't want to get stuck in a position where, when you talk about international, you're generally going to have three companies involved. You're going to have the origin agent, the freightliner, and then the destination agent. Well, what happens if by the time this move is happening, that origin agent isn't getting paid fast enough where they literally could go out of business because of these delays, right? They were already leveraged, whatever it is, way better than me, 30, 60, 90 days.
Yeah.
Well, what about now it takes even longer for that shipment to get there and the origin agent is waiting 180 days? Can they sustain that? So it's a concern.
Well, and that's where these stimulus packages and small business loans and things like that are going to come into play. But I mean, some people, need to be, some people aren't savvy enough to take advantage of these things or don't know about them or whatever. So, you bring up a good, cash flow. I mean, the whole economy, it's cash flow is a macro problem we're having right now, right? I mean, a few aspects shut down, and then other aspects shut down, and the money stops circulating, and that's kind of the problem we see.
Here's another thing just to parlay off that, Ben, and then I know we want to let people participate too, but surprising thing, we have not seen a slowdown in any of our bills getting paid. And even the government, and I don't want to beat up on the government, but our contacts over there are like, yeah, we can work from home. We're set up to work remote. Like, wow. And checking in with the ARAP, are our bills getting paid? Yep, money's rolling in every day. Haven't hit any speed bumps there either. Thank God, knock on wood.
That's great. Yeah, I remember talking to one of the gentlemen from GSA at ERC probably 2 years ago, and I was surprised at how forward thinking they were on work from home. A lot of them had been already like hot desking or hoteling, where they'll be in the office for 2 or 3 days, they'll be at home for 2 days, especially in the Virginia area where traffic can be so terrible and real estate can be so expensive. They're saving so much money on real estate from that standpoint. And I'd love to come back to that on a long-term thing as well. But let's get some shout outs real quick, so people checking in and see what kinds of questions and comments we have here. If you're on Facebook, if you're on YouTube, if you're on LinkedIn, leave us some questions, some comments. Love to know what you're seeing. Love to know what you're thinking. It's a great opportunity to pick Bill's brain too. He's got a big brain there. So let's pick it here. Dawn Hazel, hi Ben and Bill. Hey Dawn. John Fernandez, what up? What up, though? Zeke Oaks, hey fellas, love the work from home look. Bill Mulholland. Actually, Bill's in the office. I'm working from home. I got the credentials. He's got the surfboard.
Sorry, I got so dressed up.
We got to exchange decorators. All right. Simon Johns, hi from the UK. Shout out to Simon, who was on one of our happy hours. Had some real interesting perspectives from the UK last Friday. Kelly Gurin, hi from Shift in Phoenix. Hey, Kelly. Let's see. Total Wine open in Connecticut, says Michael Cadden.
Nice.
I'd love to know, unofficial survey here. I'll leave it in the comments. Is your alcohol consumption up, down, or flat? Okay, because I think we're going. I feel like alcohol and food. I feel like all we're doing is eating and drinking and video conferencing. I feel like that's our life.
Yeah,
maybe I'm just projecting.
That are doing much better in this, and the alcohol industry, I think, is one of them.
Seriously. Love to know if you're just say up, down, or flat. I don't know what you're talking about. Rory Ramirez, hello everyone from Mini Moves in Broadview. Hey Rory. Matt Sasso, travel has been crushed, says Matt. Product lead at Shorts Travel Management. Yeah, tell me about it. I'm seeing like $39 flights from Southwest. It's like,
I had a buddy who flew the other day, and he bought up all the seats around him because they were like $20 each. And he's like, "Dude, for $200, I bought like 10 seats just so no one would be next to him." And of course, there's like 5 people on the flight, but he's like, "I don't want to take any risks."
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. He's social distanced himself.
Yep.
Diane Rizzo, hello everyone in Delaware. Sandra Clary has a question here. Sandra Clary, sales and account management. Is there a way in the survey results to know if this is all or mostly intra-domestic relo? If there's not yet a dip, any sectors that seem most resilient in the COVID-19 era?
Well, on page 4 of the survey, and we could post it maybe afterwards, Ben, in the comments or something like that for people that need
Yeah,
it.
send me the link, and I'll also put it on my
Okay.
the Love and Reload Facebook page as well.
Okay, cool. Yeah, the respondents, to answer that question, the majority of them handled domestic and international. And then there were a certain amount that did international only and a little bit more that did domestic only. So it was a pretty good spread. And we broke it down by percentages so you could kind of see, but it was a pretty good spread. You have the Total Wines who are obviously just doing domestic, and then you have DHL that are, both. So, I mean, we had a pretty good spread, and we had a pretty good spread of industries too. So that way our sample size was good, where we hit, I'd say, most of the major relocators.
What about immigration? I feel like immigration's another area that obviously doesn't touch everybody, but those it touches, I feel like that's a inordinately impacted service line.
Right now, I mean, it was crazy there when we were doing those travel bans for a little while, and a lot of our clients were going, to the Middle East and to and from, and so that seems to have died down, where it created a lot of issues. And I don't know if it was that our providers just adapted to the new rules, but it seemed that seems to have died down. Right now, it's just, I mentioned that one group move that we're doing from Canada to Puerto Rico. It's just not happening. Canadians are just not allowed in. So until that travel ban or whatever they're calling it is lifted, no one's going anywhere. But that's probably the most major one that has affected us thus far. We're in kind of a unique space too, where I think a lot of our federal law enforcement clients that are going international kind of get an acceptance to the rule. So for example, if we're moving a guy, at Secret Service to Italy, and Italy currently has their borders closed, they'll probably let him into the embassy, or her. Mm-hmm. So I think that probably affects us a little bit less on the government side.
Yeah, it makes sense. Roy Ramirez comments, Macy's is about to furlough like 130,000 employees.
Wow.
Gee whiz. Macy's. I mean, I see it. I get it, right?
Yeah, people are out shopping right now.
That's one of those ones you wonder if the people are going to be. Well, that's one of the ones too. You wonder how many of those people are coming back too. I mean, this is going to be a blip for some industries, and this is going to be a kablooey for other ones, right?
Some industries are going to thrive, right? Like Amazon, I heard they're hiring like 20,000 people, and I mean, there's certain
Amazon can't keep up with the volume,
right?
Yeah, I can't get my coloring books to save my life over here. I mean, kids are writing on the walls. Anyway, let's see. So it's true. Kelly Gurin, up. She says up. Jason Miller, up. I'm running low. Where's Total Wine at? David Sharon, both. Interesting. Oh, maybe he's talking about food and alcohol. Chris Roberts, coffee too. Yeah, I know. Yeah. I'm drinking an 8-cup pot now instead of a 6-cup pot. It's crazy. Sean Wood, way up. Mary O'Donnell, up. Simon Johns, up. I'm in overdrive.
I think the relocation industry already started off drinking a lot, so I'm really impressed that we have room to go up.
That's so right. I didn't know we had headroom for growth. Did you?
We're already like peaking. That's scary.
Andy Lopez, that's why the liquor store is considered essential.
Yeah. In Maryland, I know they consider them essential. All liquor stores are open. It's like liquor stores, gas stations, and pharmacies.
I heard a rumor early on in this thing. If you gargle tequila, since it lives in the upper respiratory system for the first 5 days, if you gargle tequila, you should be able to kill it. And I was like, that's not true. Not true. Let's see here. Joseph Fick. Bill, my colleagues are confirming to me that the VA loan market is being priced out of the market versus FNMA. The servicers are not originating new loans soon. FHA, VA, USDA loans are going to be vastly different by 4/15.
Interesting. I have heard from some of our mortgage lender partners, and maybe Jason Miller can chime in, that they're funding loans now. It's business as usual now. But once again, they're anticipating changes coming down the pike. I wonder what he means if he wants to throw another comment in there about they're going to be drastically different. What's going to be different about them? Rates are going to go up. Requirements are going to be higher.
Yeah, Joe, let us know.
Yeah, because right now, in a lot of areas, the housing market's pretty good. And that's a scary thing for us, right? Because we have to buy the house. We have to perform guarantee buyouts for the government at a fixed rate. So whether we make money or lose money, it doesn't matter. And, we are actively buying homes. And this notice from the governor of Virginia is a big deal. If, are real estate transactions considered essential? Are no homes in the entire state of Virginia going to buy or be sold from now until June 10th? That is massive. If that's
so real estate is not essential in Virginia?
I don't know. Right now, I believe it's considered essential. So title companies are limiting, like, for example, they won't let the realtors come into closing. The realtors have to dial in on the call, just the two parties that are signing the docs. But man, I don't know. I'm going to have to read this thing when we hang up and see if that's tightened up even more. Because how could you go out and look at houses if you can't go out? I mean,
Check that real quick. I got a word from our sponsors. Hold on one second. All right. Today's episode of Love and Relo is sponsored by Pivot. Did you know that up to 1/3 of assignees leave their post early? At Pivot, we want to change that. Pivot is the social mobility app designed to make a new city feel like home. How do we do that? We provide crowdsourced data from friends, coworkers, and other expats to give the best possible advice for assignees abroad. We can improve assignment success rates and help employees thrive, all for only $6. Contact Lynn Greenberg, founder of Pivot, at lynn@pivotapp.com. All right. Coming back, gotta pay the bills. All right, here we are, back with the bill. So let's see here. I'm gonna go through this while Bill's looking that up right now. Sean Wood says yes, please. Stephen Seligson says up. Rory Ramirez says triple up and still working. Rory, where do you find the time? Kelly Gurney, wow, she's just wowing. All right, let's see here. Let's go to Facebook here, YouTube. Stephen Seligson, all right. Coming to us from New York, New Jersey. Stephen, what are you seeing? New York's an epicenter right now. The family over there, you guys are going to pass China alone, it sounds like, at 57,000 cases currently, I think. Beaver creating its specialty. That is one specialty, creating beaver. Phoenix, Arizona. Let's see here. Looking good, you two. Thank you very much, Tim. I appreciate it. Sometimes I worry. Don't touch your face, Ben. You know what? It's my face, Tim. How about that? I haven't left the house. Okay? I'll shed on myself all I want. Janet Turner, hello, guys. Hey, Janet. Janet and I had the most lovely time, by the way, in Puerto Rico. Out there by the waves, listen to the waves crash against the Condado, having a glass of vino. I mean,
yeah, man, that was a bummer. We were going to run it back this year in November, and we had already started planning it out, but that clearly is not going to happen. And in fact, we just had a call about it yesterday, and this is perfect thing to present to you, Ben. Let's say everyone's going to have a down year, like we're expecting we are going to. It's going to be really hard for me to hit people up a year in advance and say, hey, do you want to be a sponsor, when they just came out of a really down year?
Well, Bill, I paid for my sponsorship 6 months late, so that doesn't affect me. I won't actually pay that bill until next 2021, baby. So
we better make sure we're collecting. Anyone who hasn't paid, it's going to be really tough now.
Oh my gosh, a prepayment bone. I'm still rocking my bracelet here too.
Yeah, I got mine going too. So the new thing I started now, I don't know if I told you this from that retreat that I went on, is every time you say anything negative, you have to switch wrists. So that's a new thing I started doing, and the goal is to keep it on the same wrist for 30 days. It's tough, dude. And I don't really consider myself a negative person, but you realize a little bit more how often, and it could be just these, oh, I hate traffic around here. Oh, this is annoying, or oh, look at my food's not the way I want it to be. Anything negative whatsoever, switch wrists. It's good. I've gone 3 days. It's my record.
We're going to break that right here. I'm going to pull something out of Bill that's it's less than positive, okay? Let's see. Speaking of Puerto Rico, Stephen there. Shout out to you, Stephen. Also in a hotbed of New Orleans there. Happy Monday. Janet Turner, Pivot. Give the hand. Was that a hand clap? I don't even know.
Hand slapping, yeah.
Hand slapping. There you go. There we go. All right, wonderful. Let me see here if we have any other questions here. Pennsylvania's closed all liquor stores March. Whoa, what? Pennsylvania closed all liquor stores March 17th? Forget real estate.
Absolutely out of control. Can you ship booze? I don't even think you can ship booze into Pennsylvania. They're one of those really wacky, alcohol states. They are. That's where I'm from originally. They have like drive-through beer dispensers. It's all crazy.
It's crazy. Did you have any update on the real estate situation in Virginia? Do you know if they're an essential or not?
Yeah, I mean, there's really 6 bullet points on here for the reasons that you can be out on the road, and none of them are to buy and sell houses. It's basically like obtaining food or beverage, seeking medical attention, taking care of other individuals, traveling required by court, engaging in an outdoor activity, or I guess there's a little bit of leisure there. I don't know if looking at houses would be one of them, and traveling to and from a place of worship. Those are the only 6 bullet points they got on there. So it's pretty hardcore. That's going to decimate the real estate market. And it's crazy because, Ben, what we're seeing right now is the real estate market is pretty hot, especially in these non-conforming, non-jumbo loans. So that price range varies by area. Like in Northern Virginia, it's pretty high because, as you said earlier, homes are expensive. So if you're not over like 500 grand or 600 grand or whatever jumbo is, people are sitting at home. They're looking at realtor.com. They're looking at Zillow. Rates are super low. The Fed's cut their rate to 0%. So likewise, interest rates are still at a historic low, what you're getting from the lender. People are buying houses, man. We're seeing a lot of houses go under contract. Now, question on my mind is, you look at that closing board with 82 closings, are they going to happen? You know, or fast forward to April. How's April going to shake out? And I'll post that, man. I will keep everybody updated maybe at the beginning of the month. Here's how many closings we had scheduled for the month of April, and here's how many ended up happening.
I would love to see this data tracked, like almost like, I know it's hard to do and hard to administer, but like almost like on a weekly or every 2 weeks, because I feel like it's so fluid. It's changing so much. I mean, things are getting announced every day. You know, it's like all of a sudden, you know, I wake up on Friday morning, the first thing I find out is that Boris from the UK's prime minister gets, you know, coronavirus. I'm like, what? Like things are happening so fast, you know. You know, but yeah, I mean, you know, keep us in the loop. If you know, if you have that link, I'd love to put it on the Love and Relo site on Facebook. I'd love to get more data points in here and really get a look at this thing. And your intention is to do this for how many more days?
I mean, the original goal was we try and do the first one as soon as things are kind of happening, right? Like, you know, ground zero, for lack of a better description, which is what I feel like we're kind of at right now. And then do it 30 days out, 60 days out, and 90 days out. And the original goal or thought was that at the 90-day one, things would be more positive. 30 and 60 would probably be pretty rocky. So we're going to see. And you know what, Ben, I think an important thing to bring up too for anyone who's tuning in, and I know that we all do slightly different things. You know, we're the RMC, you ship goods or whatever. But one thing that we're trying to do always at ARC is get out ahead of the situation. So I said that earlier, I'm laser focused. We're running weekly reports, seeing what's going on with everything. We're already trying to diversify our products. So I know a lot of people in the industry, and you're probably seeing this, are looking to do virtual surveys. Let's keep that move going.
Yeah,
you know,
we're getting a lot of that in the comments right now. Actually, we get 2 folks, Michael Cadden and Mike Puckett. Mics are way out in front on this thing. Virtual closings. We're doing 100% virtual closings now. They're saying, you know, I mean, that's something, right? So if, like, let's say in Virginia or other states, New York is also a state where real estate is deemed non-essential. Can they do virtual closings? Are you seeing that in relocation or?
We haven't done any yet, and it really depends on the state. So, Michael, you should hit up Faye Hawksworth with Old Republic. That's who our national provider is on all of our closings. Shout out to Faye, she's awesome. But yeah, it really is going to depend on the state. Like I know Puerto Rico, for example, is you have to be there in person. They have to record at the courthouse live. It's a very hands-on process. So our closing provider here is closed until this is over. So that's going to be interesting. But, you know, diversification of products too, I think is extremely important right now. You know, we're doing things that are a little bit outside our box of what we would normally do. For example, offering to all of our government corporate clients to ship freight, looking into shipping things rail. You know, what can we do so that money keeps coming in the door? Mm-hmm. You see all these things online, like Chanel is making face masks now, and Bacardi here in Puerto Rico shut down a couple of their bins to make hand sanitizer. So not only are they helping out, but don't get it twisted, they're listening to what demand is, and they're keeping money coming through the door.
Yeah,
And
you made a video. You made a video on Facebook that I thought was fantastic. I was up late one night watching and self quarantining, and I was watching this video, and I think I texted you at like 1 in the morning. I'm like, this is so inspirational. This is great. I love it. But it was basically, I loved it too. The premise was in I think it was I'm going to totally butcher this, but here I go. The symbol in Chinese for crisis is the same as opportunity. And if we start looking at change as opportunity, and crisis being bad on the one side, but the yin and the yang of that is good on the other side, right?
right.
I think that's just such a mind-opening concept for people to look at.
Well, yeah, I mean, people are going to need to ship a lot of stuff, right? There's going to be ventilators and masks and all these things that are shipping. One of our clients is the Veterans Administration. Yeah, I've already hit them up and said, how do I get on your freight list? What can we do? You know, online, that language training thing we call Berlitz. Hey, can you do the whole thing via Skype? They were like, yeah, absolutely. In fact, we'll charge them less money. So how do I adapt to what's happening, invent new products? We offer to all of our corporate clients the sanitizing cleaning service.
I want to talk about that because as a household goods provider, I remember Patty in your office shot me a note about that a couple weeks ago. I looked into it. You know, can you walk me through that? What does that mean? How are you doing that? I think that's a really interesting thing.
It's tough. We're doing it on a case-by-case basis. I thought it was a great idea. It sounded pretty easy.
It sounded great in your head, right?
Yeah, but execution was a little different.
I thought the same thing, Bill, and I spent a whole 4 hours one morning, calling people.
Yeah,
and it was harder. It's harder than it sounds.
It's hard. There's no national provider. Service Alley is probably the most national company that we've come across. But even like Mary Maids and some of these other franchises you see, even if they are in all 50 states, they don't really do a good job at have any sort of lead routing center. So, you know, the short answer is we're providing it in mostly major areas, but especially for us, right? We do reloads to really remote locations. So it did become harder than I thought to offer that service to every client, but we're trying.
Yeah, I called Molly Maid. I was like, well, we could try to do it ourselves with our driver and Lysol and all this. But then my vice president of ops was like, yeah, that's great, Ben. Where are you gonna get Lysol? And I was like, got you. Okay, cool. I was like, okay, where are you gonna hand sanitizer? Got it. Yeah, I see the problems. Okay, cool. You know, I'm going through all this stuff. Right? It's like we could use 100% disposable material if you want. I'm like, geez, okay. So I called Molly Maids and I'm asking them, and they're like, yeah, we'll wipe down everything in the house for X dollars an hour or whatever, but it's not guaranteed. You know, it's all natural, and it's not guaranteed to kill COVID-19 because it has to be alcohol. And I started getting into it. I started peeling back the onion. I'm like, holy crap! Like this is intense, you know. But what are some of the for those people that are watching, the service providers that are watching, and the ones that have to still go into people's homes, you know, have you heard anything out there that you thought, wow, that was best in class? That's kind of a world-class approach or a novel approach to anything that service providers have done. I mean, do you want to shout anybody out, you know, besides university?
We've gotten some really good communication. You know, like Dwellworks sent out a nice communication of what they were doing. You know, we're getting Old Republic, I mentioned earlier, is our national title network. A lot of real estate brokerages, like Shannon Brown out in Minnesota, shout out to her. They're all communicating with us of what they're doing. And a lot of them are saying, hey, if we have any employees that have traveled to these countries, we have them placed in quarantine for 14 days. They're not allowed to interact with anyone. Any employees that are exhibiting any symptoms whatsoever aren't allowed to interact with anyone. And employees that do interact with people are wearing rubber gloves. They're washing their hands. Our realtors are driving in a separate car. You know, so yeah, a lot of service providers had great communications with us. And also what I'm very appreciative of are a lot of service providers for keeping us updated as to what was happening, like PAX International. Hey guys, here's a list of like the 6 countries right now that have stopped all shipments coming in and out. And then Motley Fool, who's one of our clients, and we posted, if you click in the auto signatures I mentioned earlier for our communication to clients, transferees, and communication to vendors, one of the links for property management, Motley Fool put out every state that has changed their tenant landlord laws because of this. And basically what's happening is if people stop paying their rent, you're not going to be able to evict them. And we do a lot of property management. In fact, we're number one on the GSA schedule for relocation services other, like every year. And that's what property management falls under. And that's pretty much why we're number one, is we do so much of it. So transferees are going to get put in a bad position where they might have a tenant who stops paying rent. The property manager is still going to get paid for doing their thing. They can't make them do rent, and they're going to have to wait until all this ends, and they're going to get their rent payments on the back end. So that's going to be a big deal.
So much to consider. Let's see here. Steven Seligson said mortgage are tied to the T-bill, not the Fed rates, I think. Okay. I think that's true. You can't, Rory says you can't have more than 10 people in an open house, including yourself. I think that's a state-by-state thing. I had a bunch of realtors on last week. We had Ryan Watroba from New York, Barry Matheny from Washington State, David Sharon from Michigan, and Tim Nowak from Colorado. And New York, realtors were non-essential. Michigan, TBD, because the announcement just came out 2 days prior. Colorado, realtors were essential. Seattle's TBD, I think it was. So, forget 10 people in an open house. I mean, you're not going out of the house at all if you're,
that Virginia thing, man, that's scary. And I think more states are going to follow suit. We're going to see the same thing. So eventually, whether companies want to stop relocating people and people want to stop moving or not, I think we're going to get forced into that situation.
Dawn Hassel says we are providing virtual DSP assistance.
Cool.
Obviously,
Dawn, hit me up.
Yep. Obviously, a lot of movers have all, we've switched to virtuals. We do still offer in-homes. We really try to steer people into virtuals. The virtual survey companies are going nuts right now. Let's see here. Georgia. Okay, here we go. Lee Massey Hayes. Hey, Lee. Georgia Supreme Court and governor have completed one of two steps to allow temporary non-physical presence of notary for closings. Hoping to have confirmation soon. Thanks for the great info, Ben and Bill.
Wow, cool.
So you have the notary, inspection, and the appraisal that all have to be figured out virtually.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about even just a real estate transaction, you probably have a minimum of 10 parties between home inspectors, appraisers, title companies, mortgage companies, real estate brokerages. The list goes on and on and on. If one of those parties can't perform their service, you're not closing on a house.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. So high likelihood that process is going to be affected.
Well, and we did hear from the realtors that came on. They did talk about COVID-19 addendums to purchase agreements, which gives people a little more sanity around, a little more peace of mind, I should say, around the closing process if things should change. I have a friend of mine who closed on selling his house today, found out yesterday he lost his job.
Oh my God.
He sold his house today. And so good news, he sold his house, got probably more money than he would get for it if he waited a month.
Yeah.
Now he's in a wait and see mode, and he's probably going to be looking at renting instead of purchasing now. Dawn says we have been asked by a few RMCs to provide pricing for isolation package assistance and specific for COVID-19 assistance.
Wonder what isolation package assistance is. Wonder if that's somebody who's kind of trapped in TQ. I'd love to get information on what that would entail. That sounds like a great innovative product where we're adapting to what's happening and we can offer a service now. I love that.
Yeah. Lynn Greenberg, shout out from Pivot App, New York City, our sponsor. Shout out, Lynn. Hey. Lynn also offers, basically virtual kind of DSP type acclimating services as well. I think that's going to be, a very important, the Pivot App, and how you can gain community virtually with people, without going out and meeting them. I think all that stuff is important. Rory's saying our crews are wearing booties, masks, and gloves. All our emails have a message about the effect of the virus might have on shipments. Booties, masks, and gloves. Masks are hard to come by too. I mean, I go into a house with a mask on, the transferee's 50%, chance she's going to say to me, you should donate that to a hospital. What are you doing wearing masks? Because our certain, it's a sticky wicket, Bill.
Yeah.
Diane Rizzo, Hopkins Sun Atlas Van Lines providing virtual tours and quarantine on all shipments coming into storage. Yeah, we're hearing people like leaving stuff in the garage for three days to let it like kind of cool off before bringing it in the house, right? Same thing with shipments, right? You could probably leave it out for 3 days before bringing it in. Be advised that moving and transportation services are essential services and will continue to service the public. The pandemic may have impact on some domestic shipments. Please be advised that while we see little to no issues at present, the COVID-19 pandemic may delay or impact some domestic shipments. We continue to monitor the network, and we will advise you if a delay of your shipment is imminent. That's from Rory over at Mini Moves. And then Jamie Massler, Ben, and Bill Cheers from Mississippi. Yep, I'm just let's see one last comment from Janet, and then we'll get some closing thoughts from you, Bill. Janet says, I had one of our agents and friend do a carton delivery Friday for a job that was supposed to start today. Received a call yesterday that a family member was diagnosed with COVID. Wow. I felt like I sent them into a danger zone. What should probably stop the carton deliveries? Well, Janet, I'm going to take this one. Janet, I mean, carton deliveries, people leave boxes on my doorstep all the time. I mean, I would probably just leave them outside the home. I wouldn't necessarily put them in. But when you look at like metros like New York or Chicago, where there's a lot of high rises, they're extremely densely populated. You know, you're looking at stairwells and, railings and elevators and things like that, are highly trafficked. I'd stay away from those. I might leave them with a doorman or something. But I mean, limiting unnecessary physical exposure in homes.
Well,
it's gonna be critical.
And you know what? Here's my question as a business owner, and the way I think about it. I think Janet asked a great question. Should we stop those? Are companies going to put themselves into a position where the transferee gets sick? God forbid someone dies, right? Or the employee gets sick, and they say, "Well, my employer should have known better, but they allowed me to continue to do this. My employer should have said stop." Whether you're a mover for a moving company or you're a real estate agent, and they're saying they told me to get in the car with this guy and help him out because he was relocating, and then my family member died. So yeah, that is a concern. Is when do companies make the call that it's a liability to continue to do business? I don't know.
Well, and I mean, the whole reason the governors are coming out and saying, essential versus non-essential is to try to force businesses to close. Because if you're a business owner, you're going to stay open because you have to make the rent that month or payroll or whatever, So it kind of forces business owners to make a tough decision. But then you even have essential businesses like moving, right? Who are saying, well, we're an essential business and everybody's coming in the office. Well, not everybody's necessary to the operation, right?
Right.
Again, also a slippery slope, because if I'm not essential to the operation, do I still deserve to draw a paycheck?
Right.
It's a slippery slope. So fortunately, my company's allowing me to work from home right now, and I am still getting a paycheck, which is why I'm able to bring these things to you. But in a week from now, I may have a GoFundMe page that says, keep the rice and roni flowing over here while we get some Love and Relo going. So we'll see.
Hey, you sound very professional, man. With those sponsorships, I feel like I'm on the Joe Rogan podcast. This is
trying.
I'm trying.
I'm trying to get some sponsors. If you want to sponsor, by the way, Bill, you brought it up. I mean, what the heck else are you doing, right? You're not going to
regional. Yeah, I might, time
you're not going to ERC, right? I mean, you got all this money, these war chests. You got to do something with it, right? All right. Joe Fix says, Ben, I'll reach out with an idea for explaining how the secondary mortgage markets are changing to avoid risk in markets like this. Lender credit boxes are changing fast or eliminating programs altogether. We should have a Love and Relo panel on it fast. Yeah, I would love to have a mortgage Love and Relo panel. I really would like that. I think people need to understand what the options are out there. Yeah, for sure. Dawn Hassel says, we were notified over the weekend from one of our RMC partners that they did receive notification that there was a person diagnosed with COVID who had been in customers' homes. Yeah, I got that same memo. I think I know the one you're referring to, Dawn. And I applaud companies for admitting that, because that's a scary email to write. You know, I think we've all been in a situation where things have happened and we're leaders in our company and we've had to write an email that's very difficult, but we know it's the right thing to do. So I applaud companies who actually go out there and communicate. Bill, to your point, some of the best actions we've taken as an industry in this time right now has just been actively communicating and telling people what's going on, what they need to look out for, because it's very easy to take an ostrich approach and put your head in the sand, pretend nothing's going on and everything's going to be fine in 2 months. And things probably will be fine, but we need to communicate in the meantime because a lot of damage can be done. Bill, I really appreciate you coming on. Again, one of the most forward-thinking people in mobility, always ahead of the curve, always thinking of the next thing. Any final thoughts or wisdom you want to leave with the Love and Relo viewers?
No, just to echo your point, I think it's extremely important that we all keep communicating and seeing what we're going on, even if it surprises us, like, yeah, business still seems to be trickling in, and then have the courage to put it right out there when business stops to let everybody know. I think there's comfort in knowing what other people are going through as well during this. And then let's collaborate as an industry. We have a lot of really, really bright people in the relocation industry and a lot of really hard workers. So I'm sure alternative programs and products are going to emerge from this. That's what I'm looking forward to. It sounds like we already have a couple good ideas just from this podcast.
Well, and you know what? That's another really cool application of this. I'm really into crowdsourcing, and as more people kind of like come on and leave notes and stuff and comments, and some of it's crazy, but some of it's really, really great, you know, and there's some meat in stuff, you know. I mean, I'm learning stuff every time I read the comments. I would love for somebody to be so bold as to bring a problem onto the show that they're actively working through. Like, how do we offer sanitization services, or how do we do a virtual real estate process every step of the supply chain? How do we do a blockchain? You know, bring it on here and let's tackle it live as a working group, because there's a lot of smart people. I mean, we got 50 people on LinkedIn tuned in that are some of the best and brightest people at their organization, and another 12 on Facebook right now. And I feel like we could come up with something. So just saying. If anybody's into that.
Yeah. Anyone who has any products or ideas, please hit me up with a direct message, because I'd love to hear about it. That's what we're looking for right now at ARC, because I think if we are not preparing for a slowdown, we're not doing ourselves any favors. So let's figure out what we need to do now so that when it happens, we're just executing.
That's right. That's right. And then, Bill, one last plug. Where can people find the information on this study that you dropped today?
I will put it on my LinkedIn profile. It's already on my LinkedIn profile, and I'll send it to you too, Ben, if you want to put it on yours.
Yep. We'll put it in the comments on this as well, and then I'll put it on Love and Relo on Facebook as well. Awesome, Bill. Hey, this has been great, man. Thanks so much. I really appreciate you coming on.
You too, brother. I'm glad you're safe and healthy, and for you and your family. So talk to you soon.
You too. You too. Thanks.
All right, brother.